Welcome to episode 4 of Majoras Mass Game Club. I am your host, Canadian Matt. This guy up here is American Matt.
What's up?
Let me just say this. If you've grown up with this game, and you were a kid of some kind, and you played this game by yourself, and you beat it.
Yeah,
I mean
real.
That, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Me and Matt were cramming this game last night. We thought, oh yeah, we'll just run through after the Snowhead Temple, get to the Great Bay Temple. There's a lot to do. You need to talk to the Gorons, beat a Goron race, get a powder keg certificate before that. There's eggs, there's a picture. There is saving another, or letting another soul die. And if this was all just in Ocarina of Time, which is not without that 3-day time limit, that is the thing that blows my mind. Because even if you did eventually find out what you were supposed to do, you now have to do the Song of Time and go back and do it all in order. There must be so much backtracking in this game.
Yeah.
I dare say it's a little bit tedious.
Yeah, definitely.
And Matt, you and me both, like, admittedly, we're playing this on an emulator with a walkthrough, just looking at it, and it's still tough to get everything done in time and kind of sort out what you have to. Actually, it's not tough, but some of the activities are challenging. So I cannot believe anybody got through this game. That's amazing.
Yeah.
If you have, please send your story into gamethinktalk@gmail.com. We'll give you a shout out right here on the show. You can show it to people. Put it on your resume. Let's talk about this game. So, one thing that struck me a lot in this playthrough, in this episode, was that I love the Goron roll. That's how I get around almost everywhere.
Yeah.
I just roll around. It's so fast. I love it.
It is.
The banker exists outside of time.
Yeah, apparently.
I know he stamps you, but he just seems to look at you and he knows. Like, the time rules for that make no sense. How come I can't just withdraw my money and then reverse time before I withdrew the money and then withdraw the money? That doesn't work.
Right.
He also can recognize you if you're dressed up as a Goron.
Huh.
He looks into your soul and he knows. I'm wondering if at the end he helps you fight the final boss, because he's like a part of this all along. I don't know what's going on.
Right.
Something else I noticed. If you were just in Clock Town and you were like hammering away, like those lazy, I love the lazy workers too in the construction. It's like this dig at construction workers you see, or more like traffic workers. When you see people, there's like 10 dudes standing around a hole like fixing the highway, and like one guy's doing something. That's what it's like in Clock Town. So if you're one of these guys just sitting there watching people work, and all of a sudden this kid whips out his ocarina, just starts playing a song, maybe you're like, oh cool, he's gonna play a song, and then he either disappears into nothingness, or a psychedelic owl wings wrap around him and he flies away. Like, what is going on? No one ever comments on this, so that's weird. Matt, I wasn't going to get the upgraded sword, and then you were getting it, so I thought I might as well get what you got. So tell me about you getting the sword.
It was pretty easy. Well, it was kind of easy. I mean, once I figured out after I had beaten Snowhead Temple, I realized it was not quite night in the first day. So I had a lot of time left over, and apparently this is just like the ideal place to be if you want to fully upgrade the sword. So we were kind of on a time crunch, but I decided to go for it because why not? And so as long as you have 100 rupees, you can go into this little hut.
100.
Outside of Goron. Yeah. And you got to get that adult wallet like ASAP.
I got it now.
Because you're eventually will need 5,000 rupees in the bank, and you don't want to have to be collecting those suckers 99 at a time. But yeah, I went in. You give them 100 rupees. They have to keep your sword overnight, which was fine because I had to go do that Goron stuff. So I gave him my sword. I went and got my certificate, which was easy peasy. I did the Goron race, which was kind of challenging. I had to do that a few times. Talk about wasting time. If I wasn't doing this on an emulator and I didn't have a save state, that would have been very frustrating because there was always those 1 or 2 Gorons that were just barely faster, and on the tail end, like home stretch, would roll right past you, and I couldn't bump into them fast enough. So,
But it's super satisfying when you do muscle them out of the way.
yeah,
When you're the old Gormani or whatever his name is, Kermani,
right.
and they're the young upstarts thinking they can get past you, and you just cheat.
Well, I tried to do that the first few times and ended up screwing myself over because after the second hit, you kind of go wild and run into a wall and stop rolling, kind of kills your momentum.
Did you have the extended magic bar from collecting the fairies?
No,
Me
no,
neither.
so I had
That
to go
would've
for the
helped.
bottles. Yeah, I would have, except something was kind of glitched on my emulator, and two of the fairies that were supposed to be right in front of me were not there. And I tried like shooting the air where they were supposed to be, and nothing happened. So I don't know. I guess I'm just not gonna get that upgrade. But I just shot for the bottles and ended up doing okay. The part where the trees, there's like in the middle of the course, you have all these trees that you have to avoid, and I found this nice little path on the left side where you can just kind of curve around. There's a pretty good opening where you can avoid all those trees and keep up your momentum. So after I found that, I think it took me 2 more tries, and finally finished that race. Got the gold powder. Played double Song of Time to fast forward to the next morning. And you pick up this upgraded razor sword, which looks badass. Like,
Yeah, very.
so cool. Sword looks cool. Sheath looks cool. Everything about that sword is awesome. I wish you could choose to fully upgrade like that version of the sword and keep that. But I went outside. I swung it around a little bit, messed around, played with it, and went back inside. Gave him my gold powder and the sword back. And then the reason you have to start this on the first day is because now you have to wait an extra day. You have to pick it up on the next morning, so you can only pick up this fully upgraded sword on the third morning.
So could you imagine being a kid and you figure all this stuff out and you do the stupid Goron race, but you did it on the third day, and the guy's like, yeah, I'll have your sword ready for you, except the world would be over by then.
Right.
Oh,
Very
no, because he
frustrating.
doesn't work on the second day. That's right. That guy always has an excuse. He's like, there's a festival tomorrow. I can't
Right.
work.
But the fully upgraded sword is not as cool looking. It's I don't know. It looks like something out of a really old timey like chess set or something. It kind of has this diamond pattern, kind of gold and platinum looking design on it, and it's cool. It is a cool sword, and it's longer. It has a longer reach, and you're still getting that double damage, and it's obviously the whole reason you do that side quest is because the upgrade is permanent. So that was cool. I'm glad I have it. I wish it looked like the Razor Sword, but it's, when I was fighting some of those pirates, I noticed it would only take 1 or 2 hits before the fight was over. So I think going forward, even though I can't really appreciate it because I don't know how long it would have taken me with the regular sword, I'll be really glad, especially during the boss fights, that I have this upgrade.
It has longer range as well.
Yeah.
Now that's one of the things I really loved about this game, and what I remember loving about Ocarina of Time is that a lot of games will let you upgrade your weapons by simply grinding out enough either experience points or some kind of currency so that you can go buy the next one. But to do this meaningful quest that affects other NPCs and tells part of the story, and then also kind of furthers the story along with this weird gimped up monster and his little mustached guy who runs the shop. I just think it's really well done. It was super satisfactory to upgrade that. Just like an Ocarina of Time where you go around and you trade for the big Goron sword was
Right.
one of my favorite things. Especially in Ocarina of Time when the sword breaks, the first one that you get.
Yeah.
I don't remember. So yeah, that was a very cool feature for this game. I had so much trouble with this because I'd first beat the temple way too late, and then I went and got the bomb certificate. I didn't have enough time for everything, so I had to go back and I had to go beat the boss again. Had to run down, figure out what to do with the bomb. Then I remember going to the place, but I didn't have a bomb, so I had to go back. I didn't have enough money. Then I wanted to do the sword quest, and it said in the walkthrough you're going to need 100 rupees, and stupid me, I thought that meant probably in total like 20 here, 40 there. No, they meant 100 rupees to do the upgrade. So
Yeah.
I got there, had to go all the way back, figure out how to get the big wallet. I was talking to you the whole time, and you were very sympathetic for a man playing a child's game, so we can talk about it. No sympathy required. I'm supposed to be having fun, and I was having fun. Got it all figured out. So glad I grabbed it, because who knows how many tries it would take. It having the longer range and the damage is great. The story it tells to get the sword and the satisfaction of it was super fun. Then you get reunited with Epona.
Yeah.
which is pretty cool, especially because the game starts off in such a dark manner. The game really assumes that you've played Ocarina of Time, and if you've played Ocarina, you have a huge bond with Epona. Epona's like on the box in the title sequence. It's all about Link and this horse. You go through a big experience to get the horse. So to see it get ridden off by some guy in a mask, and then he just says, "Don't worry about it. I got bored of him," or like he said, "The stupid horse doesn't listen, so I got rid of him for you." The game didn't tell you. It's like pretty dark. In this nightmare state, you think the horse is dead, so that was a pretty cool moment. Unfortunately, I was wearing the Goron mask at the time, so it was like big Goron running over to the horse.
Yeah.
He can smell Link, so he knew it was me. Speaking of wearing the Goron mask, if you ever go to the guy who sells the items in Clocktown, he's pretty funny. He's like, he says weird things like, "Hey, we don't have a lot, but what we got is right here." And if you wear the Goron mask, he always says "nice sideburns," or he's like, "Hey, sideburns." And that's his little nickname he gets for you. There's so much life in these with these characters. This is a game I really would have wanted. I would have enjoyed even more as a kid, like any game you would have. But I loved games that had mini games and side quests. That was what it was all about. So I wish I would have had this one as a kid. But for some reason, the time limit thing sort of scared me off from playing it. And
Sure, a lot of people.
yeah, it's I'm not a big fan of running out of time and running out of resources. Now that I have the walkthrough and I'm a little older, I can appreciate it. But it's funny how I would have appreciated everything else about the game earlier.
Yeah.
Then we find out about aliens. Now that's a side quest that both you and I did not do, but was so tonally different from everything else in the game. Even it's the same in the sense that it's very weird and very strange, but that felt so different. It felt like they were at this point they were allowing anybody got ideas. Anybody want to put an idea in here? Toss it in. We got to get this game done in a year. All right, so I skipped that. Oh, I love what they did with the Epona song too. They kept the same basic notes of the Epona melody, and they added that really kind of like dramatic falling chord progression. So that was done really nice.
Yeah, that's like, as far as the ocarina goes, I know you have the Song of Time, but Epona's song is probably the most iconic song for me. That's what I remember most from Ocarina of Time. And even when I played Animal Crossing, you haven't played Animal Crossing New Leaf on the 3DS, but in your town you can kind of customize your town jingle, like when the clock strikes and it does the bells toll. And I set that up to be Epona's song just for nostalgia's sake. So I was really glad to learn that song again and to get Epona again. It was nice doing the little shooting game. I hadn't done that. No, I was a little nervous because up to this point, controlling the bow and arrow and getting like these really precise shots for some reason has been kind of tripping me up. And I thought, great, now I have to do that while moving on a horse. But worked really well. And that little first mini game, I got all those balloons shot down, whatever they were, shot down in like a minute and a half, and it worked just fine. And feels great to be back on Epona and jumping over fences just like old times. I'm loving it.
Especially that fence to get into the Great Bay is so high. When I first saw it, I'm like, there's no way Epona can jump over this. And bam, unlock that section. That was sort of a nice throwback to Ocarina of Time, which was it had different areas that were locked off until you had the horse or until you had different abilities. Going out to the bay. Oh, one thing I wanted to bring up. When people sing in any N64 Zelda game, it is so creepy. When the girl teaches you Epona song, she does that. The way that they like handle a human voice with MIDI instruments is sometimes I think Nintendo likes being creepy. They just embrace it. They go with, hey, then this is the technology we had. This is what we're gonna do with it.
Yeah,
and it's gonna sound weird, but it works. You get to Zora Beach, even more creepy music. I love it though, and this like just swimming out and then getting tossed back and not really knowing why, because I wasn't lore building. I wasn't going around and talking to everybody about all the problems. I was just sort of immediately running out to what I had to do and then getting warped back and then finding that Zora body and like pushing him in, and that long extended scene of him getting up and you think, this guy's close to death. And it's like just when the tension is super high about this guy's about to die, then he does that like really goofy sequence where he's like playing his guitar.
Yeah.
And then he gets all this energy for one last rock performance, and then he ends on that final note that he's dead. And a mechanic I love in this game is playing the Song of Healing for people to put them out of their misery.
Right.
It's like euthanasia. I don't know whether these people, some of them are just kind of souls that haven't transferred on. Some of them are. They're a little bit ambiguous about what they are, but
Yeah.
you play that song and they leave and their body's gone. So in a way, you're kind of killing them. In a way,
Yeah.
you're kind of saving them. It's just a weird game. And then messed around a bit, checked out all the different Zora areas, and then went into the Gerudo Fortress. So we see this again, this like alternate reality of Ocarina of Time. We're now another Gerudo Fortress. I was a little bit worried at first because I don't remember enjoying the Gerudo Fortress too much, other than the awesome song that they had in Ocarina of Time. Because I remember it was a lot of really frustrating stealth. But
Yeah, there's a little bit of that here too. Yeah.
what's benefit now is you can just shoot the women with
Yeah.
like a roofie dart, and they just get knocked
Right.
out, and they don't even. And no one knows. It really made me appreciate Metal Gear Solid 1. Actually, I just recently played that, and the guards hearing footsteps and making decisions and following footsteps and water sounds and like knocks and deciding whether a cardboard box is in a weird place or not. And then you play a game like this, and you can like take somebody out with a full-on arrow, and the guard next to them just keeps doing their like routine. That was fun, and that was a nice mechanic. They don't stay down very long, so there's still the tension of a good that every good stealth game and stealth mechanic should have. It was pretty enjoyable getting through. Did you enjoy the Gerudo Fortress?
Yeah, I used the hook shot for most of my tags to get people down, and
I found that too slow.
yeah, I mean, I lined it up, and sometimes I would have to kind of lead to where they were going to be, a second from now. But I barreled right through it, dude. I would knock a few people out and run straight to that big ladder, and once you get the hook shot, you have all those targets around to kind of latch onto. And I goofed up a couple times and got spotted, but it wasn't very stealthy on my end. I pretty much just
Knocked
kind of
everybody out.
bullied my way through. Yeah.
Did-
So
Did you get the 100 rupee in the treasure chest? I think it's when you're picking up like the third egg. And
yeah, I did, but my wallet had been full for a while, so it didn't mean anything to me.
With the 4 people around it?
There were 3, I think.
Yeah, maybe it's 3. It's in that specific room where there's they're surrounding. I could not. I tried that a few times. I could take them out. I could run in and I could get the rupee, but then I couldn't get away.
Oh yeah, I got the rupee and then I got kicked out, and then I just I would knock the 2 closest to the ramp down, and then I would leave the third one walking, but I could still kind of with the bunny hood on just kind
I
of
don't
run
have
around and
that.
go up the ramp, and the third one that was still walking didn't notice me. So
I gotta get that. I gotta get that bunny.
oh,
hat.
it works. So you were saying you kind of roll around using the Goron mask everywhere. I found it's faster and you're more maneuverable. You can like kind of turn tight corners and stuff wearing that bunny hood.
That's cool though. That they have different ways to go about it, and we can have such a different experience
Yeah.
when we're playing in such a similar way. I found it pretty frustrating getting thrown outside and then trying to get back in. I remember in the walkthrough they're like, "Oh, you can just hook shot your way in," but I couldn't find it, and I had to again go down into the water and bust through.
You shouldn't have had to do that. Once you where all those boats are patrolling, and you kind of swim over to that left side, you go up on that ledge, there's the Goron switch.
That one is fine. I'm talking when you get thrown outside out into the actual bay area. They say that there's a way that you can get back into the fortress.
If you can get to not directly from the bay, but you have to go to that patrolling section, go up to where
Okay.
that switch is again, and then you can hook shot a target across from that Goron switch.
Okay.
And there's a door right there that leads you right back into the fortress.
All right.
Instead of going underwater and through that little thing where you push the blocks and
Yeah,
all
because
that
that
jazz.
takes tons of time.
Yeah.
You only had 2 bottles. I only had 2 bottles because we skipped the alien sequence. That gives you a 3rd bottle, and then I think maybe there's a graveyard sequence or something where you can get a 4th bottle, which would have made that whole thing a lot less backtracking.
Yeah.
Because when you go down and you fight the sea snakes, I thought that was a pretty enjoyable sequence. Using the Zora, like the Zora suit is awesome.
I
Once
love
you,
it.
Oh my god! Once you can swim, there's like so much maneuverability. And
Yeah.
although my guy's always like banging off the bottom. I haven't figured out how to do this every time, but when it happens, I love when he's skimming along the surface and he's like just popping out and popping out and popping out. That's really cool. Fighting those snakes was a really fun puzzle. There were a lot of them. I don't think they needed that many, but it was that was super cool. But then you had to pick up the eggs, and because I didn't have the 4 jars, I had to come back, but I didn't have the seahorse. to help me down. So, and I couldn't remember. I had to look that up again of like, how do I walk through this little pathway? You know what I'm talking about? You had to
I haven't encountered a seahorse.
Did you get all the eggs?
I just collected the fourth, but that's where I
Oh.
didn't drop them off.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay.
I collected the fourth egg, and then I took the creepy passed out pic of the lady pirate, and then I
Yeah, I love that. I love that you give a pirate a picture of a woman unconscious.
I guess she doesn't have to be unconscious. You could just get a good picture of her walking around, but it's
Here's
kinda
here's
hard
a
without
picture I
getting thrown
took of a
up.
woman who wasn't aware I took it.
Right.
Whether she's whether she's awake or unconscious. Like
I actually got two. I knocked one out, and the other one was patrolling, and I knocked her out, and they kind of fell on top of each other. And I went over, and my picture is both of them just kind of passed out next to each other.
well, that's art, buddy.
Maybe I'll
That's-
discover. Maybe I'll get some kind of new bonus.
I'm just imagining a nude bonus. I'm imagining some kid telling his mom like, "Mom, I'm in this game," and the mom's like ready to be like, "Yeah, yeah, whatever." And then I took a picture of these ladies who were passed out, and I gave it to an old man, and he gave me a toy and a present. Like, okay, let me play this game, and then the mom plays
Right.
it and gets lost because the moon crashes into the earth and everyone dies. All right, so I went a little bit ahead. Actually, now I remember that we agreed not to go past the fourth egg, but I did. So you're pretty close to that. So overall, how did you enjoy this section?
At first, I was a little frustrated because I'm trying to play as much Dark Souls 3 as possible right now, and I thought like the previous temple, there'll be some kind of village you go through, maybe like one little side quest to complete, and then you go straight into the temple that ties into that side quest. And I was taken aback by the amount of content that you have to slog through to get to the temple. I mean, I feel like I put in my time last night, and we have not even started the temple, so I was definitely surprised by that. But all the stuff I was doing, I had a lot of fun doing. I really enjoyed getting that new sword. The Goron race was, something different, something fun. It was unique. The alien story going on at the ranch is just totally bonkers and kind of cute, and just aliens abducting cows, and I don't know, just totally weird, very Nintendo. And the Zoran mask I love. Or Zoran? Am I saying that right? I think I'm missing-
Zora.
Zora. The maneuverability is a lot of fun. Just when you're turning in the water, the way he just kind of flips over, very
Yeah.
graceful. And
I was trying to figure out whether that made you go any faster by doing that barrel roll, but it was still
I
fun
do it
to do.
almost constantly. I just think it looks cool. And the combat capabilities are really cool. When you're standing, you have that little 3-hit combo, and I love the little projectile when you're holding B. Really cool. What's my favorite mask? And the mask animation when you put it on is super creepy.
Yeah.
If you let the animation pull up, it has those like black sunken eyes when he kind of cries out in pain. Just super dark and creepy. But that is Majora's Mask. Overall, I mean, it's a great section. It is a little tedious. Collecting the eggs feels like, I don't know, just kind of like Aaron running and like they were just filling in time, like just trying to make you do more. Didn't
in a
feel
section that
super
didn't need more
inspired.
time.
Do what?
In a section that didn't need more time.
Right.
You've already had a pretty healthy amount of activities and collection with the powder keg, with the race, with the sword at that time, if you wanted to go
Yeah.
through, with getting a Zoran mask. I kind of thought, like, the Goron thing felt a little out of place because spring had happened, so that's why there'd be more time. But really all you had to do was just kind of get the Zoran mask and go to the temple. So to get these eggs as well was, yeah, there does not need to be 7 of them.
Right.
Like, just like 2 would have been fine in 2 different spots, and just make you go through the whole Gerudo Fortress. That's something that the Zelda series has been accused of, is padding with collectathons. Wind Waker for the GameCube version, not the HD one, because they trimmed that down a bit. They have you looking for maps so you can go find other pieces, and it's just like
Yeah.
just the ultimate, and it can be kind of a drag. So it's I think it's something they're aware of. I noticed in the walkthrough that when they did the 3DS remake, they cut a few corners, but they didn't take too much of it out. So it was still, overall, I really enjoyed it. And we've said this before, it's for people that grew up on Ocarina of Time, you and I,
Yeah.
to be able to go back to this game and kind of have that old nostalgia feeling of Ocarina, but in brand new experiences. And they kept the tradition alive of making the water area the most tedious.
Yeah, for sure.
So, well, that's most of our thoughts, unless you had anything else.
Nope.
If you'd like to tell us what you think about Majora's Mask, you can email gamethinktalk@gmail.com. You could leave a comment on this video. You could just think really hard, and maybe I'll pick up on what you're saying. And we will have another episode for you next week where we will have defeated the Bay Temple. And if that's really fast, maybe we'll do a little bit more after that. Maybe we'll do the alien side quest. We'll keep you posted on how that's going to go. But until next time, have fun out there.